What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Brought to episode today, Rocks, Rock'em, and Thrive. Wishing you guys a very happy Tuesday. We're about to hit Thanksgiving, and we got a podcast coming for you today that I had this band, the podcast, before the pandemic hit. Yes, this is how long ago it's been in between podcasts, between when I last recorded with this band and now. So we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors. First, I want to thank Phoenix Fitness, because back concerts, back to mosh pits, I don't stop. I do not want to jump out of one. So I got to make sure my energy, my stamina, my fitness is on point, so I do not have to tap out anytime when I'm in a mosh pit. So go to the gym, lift, cardio all day, every day, as much as I possibly can. But I got to make sure to recover right. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in. Different pre-workouts, different BCAA recovery compounds, different creatines, proteins, other supplements, and multivitamins, whatever you might need to achieve your fitness goals and, make sure yourself is the strongest you can be, like Arnold, yeah? Or, just like super, running all the time like me. You can use Phoenix Fitness to help you achieve those goals. Our listeners and viewers of the podcast get 15% off using the code MSOTD at checkout at fnxfit.com. Links, code in the description below. I also want to thank Custom Debuts for sponsoring this podcast as well. Custom Debuts, they create custom prints for you, either like posts on museum paper, canvases, or even aluminum posters as well of, anything around music. So you give them an album and an artist, and they'll take that album and they'll put it on a poster, give you the whole track list on it, and they'll give you a bunch of different ideas around there as well, along with different posters like vinyl lyric posters. You also have just other different types of lyric posters as well. A lot of different things you can do. What you do is you send the information, what band you want, the album you want, or the song that you want, and within 48 hours, they will send you a proof of a potential idea that they have, and you can edit it as much as you want with them until you're satisfied, and then they will ship it to you after that. So you get a lot of different customization tools at your disposal to make the best poster you can. Our listeners and viewers get 10% off using the code CPP10 at checkout. Link is in the description of the podcast, so be sure to do that. Thank you, sponsors. But now, under our feature presentation, the fifth artist I ever had on the podcast in terms of video podcast interviews was Keanu from the band Kill the Blonde. And since the pandemic, they've been working hard on a couple of different things, and they've got some different music coming out. They got some new music coming out, and they're trying things a lot more honestly than they had been. So we talk about their brand new song, Anthem For the Freaks. We talk about the different stylistic change, what they're doing, what their plans are, and what is coming next from them. And be sure to follow along with them because, well, I'm wearing a Kill the Blonde t-shirt, so go follow along with the band. But enjoy the podcast as you do that. Are you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girl listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. Back in February of 2020, when I just fully started doing interviews with bands, this guy came on and was my fifth interview ever when it came to actually recording them, via video, putting them on YouTube for all you guys. It's been almost, over a year and a half, going to get close to 2 years later, and it's time to bring him back on. Got new music to talk about and just everything under the sun. So please welcome back Keanu from the band Kill the Blonde. So Keanu, welcome back, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Happy to have you back, man. Happy to have
Thank
you back, man. How's everything going now that you're living in Florida?
It's different, hotter. It's definitely a well-deserved change of pace. I love it though. It's great. It's cool. Everyone's been cool so far. The scene's been great. I still talk to a lot of people. It's cool.
It's good shit, man. It's good shit. Plus, I know everything. When it comes to the Florida music scene, it's like its own microcosm in itself. Whenever I talk about it, it's you've got when it comes to the music scene, you got stuff out west. You got that stuff around Texas. You got stuff in the Midwest. You got stuff in the Northeast, and then there's Florida.
Yeah, it's the sad thing about it. It's the metal scene here is not too big. You'll find you're obviously down Orlando, Tampa. That's 4 hours from me. But I'm slowly starting to make a name. Seeing trying to pave the way here. It's working out. Obviously, I have my New York family to help me with that too. But the scene here is not too big, which it's kind of depressing. But you learn new things and you get more passion. You learn more cultures, and it's cool.
Learn new things, but also get to meet more people as well. Because again, even though it might not be as big of a scene as it was back in the Northeast, it is there's still a scene there. There's still a different array of people there. But when you think about the bands that have come out of Florida as well, especially in like the rock and metal scene, there are some rather big juggernauts like Under Oath, A Day to Remember, Trivium. So it's still like there's still a connection there when it comes to people thinking about rock metal and Florida. So there's still some sort of precedent there for you guys to really work into and build off of.
Hell yeah. That's the plan. I just decided to do it and it worked out.
Hey man, that's the key. And as long as it works out, and as long as, when it comes to Kill the Blind, you guys are continuing to chug along and really create some kick-ass music, because I know, like, getting back in contact with you, sent me your brand new song, Anthem for the Freaks, and, well, that kind of kicked off the whole catalyst for a second podcast.
Yeah, I kind of followed you for a second. I remember when you first talked back in February, like you said, we were both starting out. We were babies, you were new to this. I was new to this. Granted, my hair was a lot longer and blonde, and I decided to catch up again, and yeah, it worked out. And it's Halloween too, so why not? It's a perfect podcast day.
Yeah, shooting this right on Halloween. It's like, this is the perfect day to do a podcast with you guys, especially with that more horror inspired thematic style as well, to really jump into it. And I know when we initially talked about it, like, you kind of were taking this a little bit of a different direction in terms of when we talked last time. So I know you have the mask that's on your wall and back there right now. So what's the difference, like the different stylistic direction that you guys are taking with Kill the Blonde?
I mean, when you first started out, I think what I said was more, we just kind of wanted to like be our own thing. And it was kind of hard, obviously, because when you start out as a band, you don't really have your own sound. You got to kind of make that, and that's very hard to do. But I think we got really fortunate where we found our sound early, and this new song, Anthem for the Freaks, I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that no band has done, or especially for a while. I didn't want to do the same metalcore, post-hardcore sound that we've been doing. And obviously I made new friends. I made new producers. They helped me hone in on what sound works best. And this new song actually was kind of a challenge, because I didn't know if it was going to be a good song, and then the response has been crazy. Everyone's been loving it. We have a new look too. We decided to just wear masks just for the hell of it, and it worked out too. And I'm trying to go for this more, back in the 2000s days, when music was great, Korn, Limp Bizkit, like that kind of era. I want to bring that back into the scene again. I feel like there's not enough of that. And I've always liked that. I didn't know how to bring it in, but I really feel like this new song really, really, really shows that. And the new song too, we have a new song coming out very, very soon that it's very different too. It's way more melodic, way more somber. It's more of like a ballad song. It's very different, so all our newer stuff now is like a different band. It's a different chapter, as I like to describe it.
Well, so even you take a look at some of the bands that were prominent back in those days when you're talking about, like the early 2000s, think again, like Korn, then again, like, I mean, still they're big right now is Slipknot, Disturbed. Like, a lot of those bands are still really big today. But I think where you're kind of coming from too is like, you're not really necessarily seeing any real new blood into that. And when it comes to music and it comes to certain concepts, it's very cyclical to see how things happen, because you can bring in certain ideas and certain topics and certain influences from different eras in time, bring them into a more modern take, put your own twist on them, and they can absolutely work. I mean, hell, the week before we shot this, I went to go see Black Veil Brides play live, and they're still drawing a huge crowd, still going with the whole entire idea of like more of like that glam rock, glam metal, hair metal style. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm using them as an example to show that bringing in influences and ideas prominently from a different era can still really work today, as long as you put your own twist on it and still create something that people can really latch onto without being like, yeah, just the same shit we would have heard 20 years ago. It's like, no, it's like, it's influenced by that, but it's something completely new.
Exactly. Yeah. I think you said it perfectly. I think it's very, I think a lot of bands are, and there's a lot of great music out there, I give a lot of bands credit, but I feel like there's a lot of bands that are very scared to do something different because they don't know if it's going to get anywhere, or they're just going to stay left behind the dust. And that was what Kill the Bomb was doing for a while. And I thought we were doing something totally different with the last EP. And the more I look at it and the more I've grown for the past like 2 years, it's different. I didn't know, I don't even think I don't even know I was going to take this direction style at all, you know, a year ago. I thought we were going to do the same thing, just heavier, darker, and, you know, just sinister. And you don't, I feel like, so you don't know where you're going to go until life hits you, you know? And I think a lot of these songs people are going to like them. And sorry, I can't talk today, but yeah, I don't know. I just think that I didn't expect any of these new songs to sound the way they do, and I'm happy with it. I think we have more of our sound now, and people know what we're gonna, you know, accomplish. And yeah,
Well, even like with the new sound as well, it's not a super big departure from what you guys had done in that last EP as well, because even with that last EP, remember you still like, even with this good old shirt that I'm wearing right now that you sent me, like you sent me the CD of the EP as well. And if I look to my left, I'll pull out the camera. If I look to my left, there's a nice like Rise Against poster, and there's the CD sitting right there on top of it, or not on top of it, on the frame basically. So yeah, it's been sitting there ever since you basically sent it to me. So had a nice little home right there. A little bit of still being able to show everyone.
I have a pile collecting dust. I might go on the street and just give them to people for free. I don't care anymore.
It's like someone trying to hand out their mixtape at like hey, dude, welcome to Rockville. Hey.
Oh, that's right. I got to go to that. When is that again?
November 11th through the 14th, I believe.
I might have to buy a ticket. It's in I think it's in Daytona too. That's a few hours from me. It's not too far.
Yeah, it should be at the track, I believe.
I might do it. I might if I see you there, hey.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out a way I get down there, but I don't think my full-time job will fully allow me, given the fact that between like October 1st, Thanksgiving is our insane time. But going back to like the stylistic, like kind of like the stylistic change that you guys are making, it's not a complete departure from that original EP in terms of the full-on like emotion behind it. It's like, because when I listen to Anthem for the Freaks, and I look back to like songs that you made back there, it's just like, you know what? I can still see the connection there. I can still feel like kind of like that horror inspired vibe to it, but there is like a different quality to it. There's a different sound to it. So it's not like a complete and utter like, oh, we're just doing a quick 180. It's like, no, we're just moving on to the next thing, but you're able to see those steps from one to the next.
Yeah, I think it's perfect the way you described it. We still write, you know, the same style, especially for the heart. You know, I think the only thing that I critique myself on is our EP. We were trying to sound like, you know, we wanted to try to sound like someone we were not, until it sounded good, and that didn't work for us. And then I feel like with this new song, we kind of just said, all right, screw it, no more ego, no more sound like this person. Let's just write our natural sound, put heart in it, and then add influence. And that's why I feel like Freaks works so well, because Freaks is what we are, but also it was something that I enjoyed writing more lyrically, you know, instrumentally, everything. And I think that if we keep doing the same thing, we're going to see progression, instead of just writing like, oh, we have to sound like this person. Like, no, just let it go and write how you feel. And it worked out.
Yeah, just kind of focus more in on, when it comes to the sound, what you guys want to make. Because if you're going to try and sound like somebody else, if you're like, oh, I want to try and make a song that sounds like, you know, this, let's have influence by this, it's not going to necessarily come out as genuine if you're doing it because you think that's what's the right thing to do. But with something like Anthem, taking what you wanted to do, it's like, okay, actually writing from scratch, just going, okay, let's create something that we just want to create. We're not going to let anything kind of come into our headspace. We'll write it, we'll start working on it, and then maybe if there's other influence we want to put in there, we'll do that kind of more on the back end, so that when it comes to the core of this writing process, it's just coming from what we feel like. And if you're going to end up doing that, I mean, I think that might be a reason why Anthem is really coming across a lot more positively, like you're saying, because you can feel the genuineness more in there. You can feel more of this passion behind it, because it is coming straight from the heart. It is coming straight from what you want it to be. And again, it's just something where you're starting to see a little bit more of like yourselves even come out. Even though with that last EP, there are some songs I really did like on that last EP. This one, again, it's different from like what I was even expecting, but there is still that quality there when it comes to you can tell you're writing from a place of passion. You're writing from a place of where you want to be.
Yeah. And it's funny because Anthem, like, that wasn't even my first song. Like, I have a buddy who I work with in New York, and he helps me write. He makes the band come to life too, you know, so I can't give myself all the credit. He does a lot behind the band. And that was kind of funny because that was a song he didn't use. And I was like, I like this a lot. Like, this is really dope. Like, this doesn't sound like anything like Kill the Bond, but like, let's give it a shot. So I added my vocals to it, and we were like, holy shit, like this is good. Like this sounds nothing like Kill the Bond at all, but like this is awesome. Because it's more like, he's like a more like hard rock, Breaking Benjamin type of dude, and more like the new metal, Slipknot type of guy. And you put the two together, and we're like, yo, like, no, this has to be like a single. Like, this is cool. Like, this is a cool first song to transition into like new era of Kill the Blonde, and it worked out. And I think, and the gimmick came last. Like the video came last, and we are just like, you know what, like this song is, let's just let this song be about not giving a shit and like let you be who you want to be. And that's where the mask comes from. It's like you're wearing a different face to hide who you are, but at the end of the day, it's like, who gives a shit? It's you. We're the freaks, the best we'll ever be. Like if you're a freak, I'm a freak. We're all gonna fit in together no matter what. And the normal people are the outcasts. So.
Yeah, because they're just kind of pretending they're playing along in a certain game where it's maybe they're following along and being somebody that they're not. And I recently saw a post from one of the guys I had on the podcast before. This guy's name's Alex from the band First and Forever, more of a good old modern emo band. And one thing that he was talking about was, and it's very similar to like what you're talking about, the Anthem for the Freaks, because he was talking about how like whenever he goes see live shows when he was younger, and always would wear a little bit more of that, like that classic emo style clothing. He always felt super comfortable in that realm. But then, going through life and not really doing that and like kind of like following along kind of more with what society had thought, like, maybe what your friends are doing, just didn't necessarily feel as comfortable. And it wasn't until he kind of took control of that and really just kind of, took off that mask and really let himself be himself. And now, I mean, I see that dude working his ass off, posting good ass music all the time. So when it comes to using that as an example, it's, I totally understand that, because there are times where, everybody, this is for everybody. There are places where you are where you feel the most comfortable. And for some of us, it's, live music, you're in concerts. I mean, I know that's it for me specifically, or maybe it's sports. It could be anything in life, but it's kind of like, if you're going to end up, portraying this other side of things just because you feel like you're not going to be accepted, honestly, like the where you feel the most comfortable, they will accept you for who you are. And it's all a whole family vibe. And I know that when it comes to rock and metal specifically, that's a huge thing. Come on out to a show, be yourself. We're gonna be happier there.
Exactly, yeah. And that's why I wrote the song too. Like lyrically and musically, this is for everybody who can't feel like they have a voice. And like if people who are scared to come out and can't talk and can't speak, let that song be your voice. Let that whole thing be your life, and I think that's kind of like the first. I've never written a song like that before. Like I've never written a song outside of like myself. So I'm like, let me just step outside the box and like think of like what society would want as opposed to like what do I want, and that's why it's called Anthem for the Freaks, because this is an anthem for the people who don't have a voice.
So how did you get in that mindset to write a song like this, to really put yourself in a mindset, maybe like somebody else's realm, in terms of not necessarily feeling, accepted, or feeling like they have to, basically put on that mask in order to try and feel like they have to fit in with society?
It was actually like, it wasn't my first thought. It was kind of like, let's just write like another cheesy, heavy horror inspired song. But I was like, you know what? Me and my buddy were like, let's just take a minute to think about like, how about we write a song that's like, more meaningful and more like, you can still keep the horror gimmick, but let's write something that people would relate to. And I kind of wrote something that I relate to, especially in high school. Like I wasn't popular. I didn't have a lot of friends. I had to wear a mask to school. I had to be like this person I didn't want to be. And I kind of applied that to, hey, I know who's like that. Let's just maybe write a song that speaks for people, to the people. And I didn't think it'd work out at all. I thought it was cheesy. I thought it was done. It's been done plenty of times. But the way it's written and the way it's presented is different. It's like, knowing me, I'm not a cheesy person. I don't like writing cliches. I don't like all that stuff like that. But I think that sometimes it's okay to write, from the heart. It's okay to write things that people can relate to. That way they can be like, hey, this song really wasn't for me, but the lyrics, I can relate to that. With anything,
Oh,
So
absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of times where bands have written about this concept, but where it comes in, why do a lot of bands write about this concept? Because a lot of bands have felt this way before. A lot of bands have been in that position. Like you said, when you were in high school, it's like kind of putting on a mask to just try and fit in and not, stand out in the crowd because you might be a little bit too afraid to be exactly you are. I mean, I understand that completely. Where it was like with me in high school, I mean, people knew who I was, but I wasn't really friends with anybody because I never really fit in anywhere. And if I was like, I had to put on a mask every which way I went. I mean, hell, today it's just, I mean, I just dress the way I want. I go do what I want. And all of a sudden it's like, yep, we're going to go. So we're going to go do this. Kevin, you want to come with? Love to. But, got tickets to go see this band called We Came as Roman. So I'm going to go do that instead because that's what makes me happy. All of a sudden it's like, hey, I got free tickets to Guar. Anyone want to go see Guar? And everyone's looking at me like, what the hell? I'm like, it's going to be fun. And
yeah,
if no one wants to go, screw it. I'm going to go by myself. And it's a completely different mindset. It's a completely different idea. And yes, a lot of bands have done stuff like this where they've written about it. But the reason is because everyone has felt that way at some point when it comes to those bands. But when it comes to other people as well, we've heard a lot of different songs that are about that. But we just don't connect with every single song about that in the same way. So with you writing a song that has that topic behind it in the way that you wrote it, the reason why I think it's getting such a positive reception is because there's a lot of people who might still feel like that, and there's really not a song that really hits on that topic for them impactfully as other songs that are out there, might be more popular songs that are out there do. And this one really hits them just with the way it's constructed. And I think the verses really do a lot of that, the way it's verses and then transition to the chorus, just how that sound goes. I think that's a huge key of it.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was definitely fun to record the song. I was definitely like not in the greatest mindset when I wrote the song, which is great, which is ironically good and bad because like it makes you write better. But it was good. I think that's why I write this kind of stuff, especially like, horror movies too. That's why I watch a lot of horror movies and all that stuff like that, because I can relate to what this killer is going through. It's like, it's a voice that's not spoken. And again, it's a different type of crowd and not everybody gets it. You have to just be passionate about it and really just go for it all and enjoy it.
Yeah, because if you're not passionate about it, then kind of what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
This takes a whole different level. And then because where I was talking about with Anthem when it comes to just those verses and how it translates chords, like what I really liked about it was like, I got to take a look at the little notes that I sent you in terms, because when the verses hit, like the vocals that you had, it sounded like there was like a little bit of like an echo behind them. And it was like an echo that sounded like it was kind of run through maybe like a cheaper microphone to kind of give like a little bit more of that echo power to it. But the thing that really caught my eye on that was it created this little bit of like this freakier kind of like deeper conceited feel, to the point where, yeah, it's even though who you are and what you like as a person is inside you. That's for real. But when it comes to trying to present that out to people, it's like, yeah, people aren't necessarily going to like that, and you're going to hear those echoes from a lot of people outside. It's like, oh no, they don't like this. It's like they want you to fit in a certain way. They want you to wear certain clothes, whatever it might be. But having that in there, it kind of still creates this little bit of this more, it still has a little bit of like a sinister vibe, a little bit of a creepier vibe to it, to really pull out the fact that, yeah, people are going to see you as a freak, but why not embrace it? Because that's who you are. And honestly, at heart, those people are probably, between normal and being freaks, they're probably freaks as well. They're just too scared to be it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's, you hit it right. You hit it right in the head. Perfect. I think. Yeah.
Hey man, it's like, as I listened to that was the part that stuck out to me the most, just because of how it was constructed and just that sound to really kind of add more of that freakier vibe to it. And it just, it fits. And even though I know when it comes to the music scene right now, it's like a lot of like, no one's really, big on this guy anymore because of the shit that happened in 2020 with him. But it's just when you listen to some of the older music, let's say from like Marilyn Manson, you kind of had that like freak vibe to it. And it's like, only like outcasts are going to listen to it, but it allowed a lot of those outcasts to have a voice for themselves, to stand up for themselves, and to just accept themselves for who they were. It kind of had that certain emotion behind it in the way those verses were constructed. Again, nowhere near the same, but it's kind of like the mindset around it and just the effect that it has, that really works out in this song.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that. I mean, despite what happened, but that was kind of like one of my influences writing this song too. It was a mixture of that and like Korn and Moses and White, all three of those bands combined. And I was like, you know what, let's just try to do it. And it worked out. Yeah.
No, I could tell some of the Motions of White stuff in there as well, because I love Motions of White. It's like just having a little bit of those like gothic overtones in the song as well. It pulls out so much of it just because, again, you think about Freaks and you're thinking about, think about horror movies, you're thinking potentially like, I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. It like, think about any high school, like any movie that's based in a high school, any high school movie, whenever they look and they talk about the Freaks, it's usually people that are really dressed up like kind of more that gothic tone to them and probably would honestly like the same music that we like.
And probably one of the nicest kids too ever that dressed like that.
Oh, abso-freaking-lutely.
That's funny. I was like, I wasn't like that over the top in high school, but it's funny because everyone's like, oh my God, he looks like a freak. Like, but yeah, he's one of the nicest people ever. And then you have someone like dressed with like a suit and tie, a total asshole. I'm like, all right, I don't want to be like that guy. I want to be like that guy.
No, I knew a couple people like that where it's like they're like, they look dressed nice and everything, but they're assholes. And then there was one of the guys like when I was in high school, like my freshman year, him and I, like we started talking with each other. It's like, okay, it's like just kind of see what happens. All of a sudden we're talking about music. I found out he's like the biggest Slipknot fan in the whole entire school. I'm like, oh, cool. He's like, well, what's your favorite band? And at that point it was still Disturbed. So I was like, Disturbed. And all of a sudden we're like, are we friends now? Yep. High five. Still, dude's one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my entire life.
That's how it starts out, man. You're just, again, it's on the inside that matters, not outside. As cheesy that sounds, but he's a freak just like you. Fuck it.
Yeah, but he's still one of the nice guys. And when it comes to some of these other people that are more polished and clean on the outside and look like these most upstanding members of society, sometimes they're the people that deserve to get, punch in the face.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
And then, like, even, like, with Anthem of the Freaks, well, like, because I'm taking a look at the notes again, like, when that chorus hit, it's, like, the tone kind of screams, like, a polished and even more melodic, like, Motionless in White feel. Just because it's just, I felt like hearing some of the tones and, like, the gothic overtones are really there. Some of the heaviness comes back in as well, but it's more melodic to the point where, like, I'm thinking about it, and it's just, I'm getting that same emotion I'm getting off of, like, a Motionless in White song, which is fantastic for this because, I mean, hell, I've, like, seen Motionless in White, like, again, when it comes to that like gothic kind of freakier side of things, they take it full force and they show it. So when you kind of pull, and again, you take a look and think about, people that would be potentially considered like the freaks, like we just talked about, the kids in a high school movie that's like, oh no, don't go by them, they're the freaks. And again, the nicest people you'd ever freaking meet, people that would go to concerts with you every time and just enjoy life. It's somewhere it's like now that like image, that emotion is being brought out in your song. And now it's finally being more open. It's being more crisp. It's more like it's like, what they're on the inside is now coming out to the outside. And it might not be accepted by society, but it's accepted by you.
Mm-hmm. And I wasn't scared either. Like whenever this was the first song I actually wrote without feeling criticized or judged. It's like, oh, what are they going to think? Like I wrote the song how I wanted to write it. I wrote lyrics I wanted to write it. Like this was the first song where I felt like the judgment is gone. And I think that's why it sounds so raw and so like energetic, is because I wasn't scared to hold back about like a certain thing. It's like, no, I'm going to write whatever I want to write. Fuck it. If you don't like it, somebody will like it. So.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great way to put it. And so I got to ask though, because I know you said you've been getting a lot of positive reception on it. Have you seen any sort of like negative reception on it? And have you been influenced by that at all? Kind of like with, what you just said, like you wrote this and you weren't afraid of the criticism or anything. So have you seen any of that come by and you're just like, you know what? I still wrote this for myself and still proud I wrote this. And a lot of people are really still getting behind it as well. So it doesn't matter.
I haven't really seen any like negative energy. I mean, obviously, the few dislikes and comments on YouTube, everyone has that. For the most part, the people who I think wouldn't like the song end up liking it. It's the people who I don't expect to like it actually like it. So it's like, I don't think there's actually more positive than negatives. And I'm not just saying that, but it definitely was a little humbling to see people who I didn't expect even to listen to this kind of music like it. They were like, oh, listen, that's not my kind of music, but I like the image. I like the cinematography. I like everything about it. I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, I appreciate that. So, and that really made me happy happy why I do what I do and the new stuff coming out, because the new stuff is not like the old stuff at all. I'll be honest right now. It's, it's still Kill the Line. It's still us. It's just, we're not babies anymore, like we're growing up. So, the positive energy was great. The negative energy just makes it more positive for me. Cause I'm like, all right, you don't like it. Well, I'm going to write something that you're going to hate more. So.
Yeah, and I think I even saw something today where it was like, saying this is like right around Halloween, and I remember it was Crown the Empire released a new song, and it is all unclean vocals in it. There's no clean vocals in it whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And I think it was their guitarist that put something out on Twitter. It was talking about like, no matter what we do, there's going to be people that are mad. We're just happy we put this out. We're happy that there are people that are liking it and just enjoy it. I'm just like, what? That's the kind of energy you need, where it's, especially when it comes to music, is if you try and please everybody, you're never going to please everybody. If you try and please like yourself with the music that you want to make, at the end of the day, you're still going to be happy with what you made. And there's going to be people that like, there's people that don't like, people that really connect with it heavily. And it's just something where you're going to end up impacting a lot more people positively through that than just, again, trying to like follow the trends, follow the crowd, and basically do what everybody else is doing.
Well, the hard truth about it is like, no matter what, someone's gonna like your music. Like that's just how it is. Whether it's gonna be someone you know or someone you don't know, someone's gonna like music. So it's like, if you write a song thinking like, oh, I want to write the song because they need to like it, that's a bad mindset, because it's not gonna come out genuine. Like that, when people say write from the heart and like if you like it, people are gonna like it. That's true. Like it's true. Like you're not gonna give someone, something, are you gonna go out to like a fancy restaurant you don't like that you're not gonna eat? It's like, no, like you're gonna go somewhere that you like, that, other people are gonna get turned on to. So that is true though. Someone out there is gonna like your music, whether it's one person, two people, it will catch on, and that's, you gotta stick with that mindset. You can't let the negative energy be like, oh, well, like, oh, this guy said we suck, I'm done. Like, no. They won. You don't want them to win.
No, and plus probably some guy on the internet as well that's writing that comment. And honestly, for anyone listening to the podcast that is a musician that might be getting like a comment, and it's like all of a sudden you put out music, you put out something straight from the heart, and you get a comment where somebody is just basically going off on you, just like being negative and kind of being that trolling mindset. Here's one thing to think about. That person is taking time out of their life to write some just negative stuff. That reflects a lot more on them than it reflects more on you.
They're probably in their mom's basement right now, just like, oh, I could write a song better than this. Bro, I moved across the fucking country in my own apartment. Like, you're winning, clearly. You're the winner here. Like, you're in your mom's basement right now, freaking no job.
Like 350 pounds eating Cheetos, kind of like the guy from the World of Warcraft episode in South Park.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's exactly it. It's like you're giving me publicity. Like the song that you streamed on Spotify that you hate so much, you gave me a stream. Thank you.
Yeah, or it's like, and then you might give him like 5 or 6 more streams even on that front, because it's like, oh, I want to talk bad about this part. It's like, but you're taking all this energy to be negative about it, when you could take that energy, find something that you're more passionate about, and be more positive about it. And honestly, make the world a better place, instead of being the guy that's just in his mom's basement going, I don't like anything. And honestly, for anyone that has gone through that, it's kind of like the classic adage of like, oh, if you're nervous up on stage or in front of people, imagine them in their underwear. It's like, honestly, in this case, if someone's giving you a negative comment, it's like you can tell it's a trolling comment. Imagine they're that guy from the South Park episode that's got the character in World of Warcraft the boys are trying to take down, because just look at that. Just remember that might be the guy that is that, and just think about it. Don't let that ruin your experience. Don't let that ruin your happiness. I know it's easier to focus on the negatives than it is the positives, because I do get negative comments sometimes with the podcast episodes as well. But you know what? Gotta remember the positives. Like, those are so much better. Let's just focus on those, man.
You gotta learn to laugh at yourself, man. If you don't laugh at yourself, the world just sucks. Just learn to laugh at yourself. The world's a better place. Trust me. I laugh at myself all the time about the stupid shit I do, and it's funny as hell. And people think it's not funny. I'm like, listen, if you start laughing at yourself, people will respect you. Trust me.
Oh, absolutely. It's just it makes everything better. It makes life better. It makes it a lot easier. Plus, when it comes to just doing things, you feel a lot more comfortable if you're able to laugh at yourself. Because what happens if you get in an awkward situation? You just kind of just roll with it. All of a sudden you look back and like, that was funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can be like me and break a finger in a mosh pit and all of a sudden be like, I'm still going back in. It's just like, what? Like, yeah, whatever. It's fixed. It's taped up. Screw it. We're doing this. It's like, well, I know a lot of people look at me like, maybe you shouldn't do that. I'm like, yeah, but it's funnier if I do. And just laugh at myself about it. So, bing, bang, boom, we're doing it.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
Said, I said you had a new song coming out at some point soon, and it's more of like that anthemic ballady type of a song, correct?
It's the best way to describe it. It's not anything like Anthem. It's more like toned down. Anthem was very upbeat and very like, hell yeah, I could sing along to this in the car, screaming at it. This song's more like, oh shit, like this is totally out of left field. It's very like, I don't want to say this is the softest song Kill the One's done, but it's the softest song Kill the One's done so far. It's very different. That's all I'll say. It's different. I'm excited. I'm more nervous and excited, but again, we all get nervous. It's normal. But yeah, I think it's totally something that we'd never done before. And again, I'm with it. I'm all for it. We obviously have our, metal songs. We have a couple more songs we still have yet to release that are way heavy people are gonna love, but we just wanted to show that we are more than just a metal band, that we're not just a band who can write heavy music and scream and, all that shit like that. We want to write stuff that people can relate to, and not even just that, but more like, I show off more of my singing, and when I first started the band, when you talked a while back, I wasn't a singer at all. I didn't want to sing for the band. I just wanted to be like, just the mindset behind it, and nobody wanted to sing. And I'm like, you know what, let me do it. And it worked out. And now I'm trying to hone in on that skill a little more. And I think these songs really, really show that, not to sound cocky, but I really do think that this does show more of my dynamic range of singing and screaming too. That is in there, so don't worry. But yeah.
So we're still gonna get some of those unclean screams, but we're gonna see a lot more in terms of range from you, in terms of maybe different pitches, different sounds, different emotions that are gonna be coming out in these songs, different pacings, everything.
Hell yeah! I don't just want to be a screamer in a band. I want to be, at least carry a voice or something, and I'm not the greatest singer at all. There's plenty of other singers better than me, but, I think that, again, I was very scared to showcase my voice. And that's why in the last EP, I didn't really sing that much. Want Me Dead, them was singing, yeah, but like, I was very self-conscious about how I sounded, and I just kind of, me and my buddy who wrote the songs were like, you know what, snap out of it. Who cares? Just do it from the heart. Just learn. Like he basically said, fuck it, just push yourself. And I did it, and it worked out. And, I need that motivation. I need someone to push me and be like, listen, you can do it. You're going to keep doing it until you get better. And I look back at it now, I'm like, wow, these are really, really, really good. These are really good products that we've done that I could never, ever think of doing.
When we think about this as well, when it comes to just, you think about rock and metal, and you think about all the different vocalists and all the different singers that are in there, some of them don't have those like perfect polished voices that you'd expect to have on there. And some of them are incredibly successful still. And you take a look at some of the people. Yeah. I'll say you take a look at people that really have those full polished voices. Like anytime you watch a singing competition that's on TV, whether it's American Idol, The Voice, some of these people have beautiful voices in the sense that you think that this is kind of like what's going to work. But there's a lot of times when a lot of the most popular bands out there, they're like, whoever's singing for them, they're not the overall best singers. They're not the most flawless singers. But it's because when they're singing from the heart and they're singing along with the instrumentals that are being constructed around behind them, it just creates this undeniable sound that really comes through.
It builds character. Like you need character behind your voice. Like you need character. Like you can be the worst singer in the world, but like if you've been doing it for a long time and you hone into it and you own it, you're gonna go somewhere. Some of the best punk singers, I love this band to death. Green Day, he didn't have the greatest voice in the world, but it worked out because it's his voice. People know, like, oh, that's Billy Joe. You know what I mean? When people know who he is. So I don't think being a good singer is all, is the best thing ever. You just need to have character behind the voice.
Yeah, because one artist that kept popping my head when I was thinking about that was Serj Tankian from System of a Down, because his voice is nowhere near perfect, but just the sound that's constructed behind it, just the pacings, everything that's being done behind it. There's such a character, there's such a personality behind Serj's voice that adds so much to System of a Down. Where there's, again, go to those singing competition people. Yeah, they might have a more elegant voice, they might have a more, beautiful voice in terms of what you'd expect, but they're never going to be able
unique.
to do something like
that. It's not unique. Like Serj Tankian, at least his voice is very, name one singer that sounds like him. Exactly. Like he's a very, very unique voice, and I think that's what works. It's like no one sounds like him at all. Yeah, he's not the greatest singer, but people know who he is. People's like, oh shit, is that who I think it is? Yeah, it's recognizable. He made a name for himself by having a voice.
Yeah, again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you know how to use it within, the context of the music that you're making, it can be an absolutely powerful tool. Coming with your vocals as well, where, yeah, when you were working on the first stuff, yeah, you might have been self-conscious about it, understandably so, because you're not expecting to, have a voice that, match up with what might be expected, or like, oh, it's not as beautiful as people think it would be, or, it's with some of the vocals that we talk about, like Billy Joe Armstrong, Serj Tankian, it's like, doesn't have that personality yet. Because if you, even like, I could probably sing, and all of a sudden, my singing is probably horrible. But, if I'm able to, hone that in, put some crazy instrumentals behind it, really work within it, it might be able to work. You never know unless you try. Me, though, I don't really care to make music because that's not my thing. My thing is talking about music. So, yeah, this is what I do.
I bet you can sing. You're downplaying it.
I can parody sing. I can't actually sing, though. I can try and like mimic people's voices and only get like certain ranges. It can be all right, but that's funny. Me actually singing is probably like they're probably gonna have to like call in the exterminator and be like, okay, there's like a problem in here we have to exterminate. It's probably just me going.
Where's a dying? Is there a dying little girl in here somewhere?
All of a sudden, like, no, that's just my horrible singing, guys. We're still gonna have to check the premise though. Dang, this is gonna be a while. So with I'll say with this other new one, that because you said you have heavier stuff, that you also have this next one that's coming out again. It's probably the softest one that you guys have done so far. What was the inspiration behind this new one that you guys are coming out with?
So this song actually, again, me and my buddy, we write all the songs. So I just didn't want to do something heavy. The mindset was like, I want to do something that no one's heard from us. We can have her want me dead, but like, what can we do? Can we do something lower or softer than that, or like more different? And he came up with this really good instrumental, and I was like, all right, let me see what I can do. We did it. We like had like a full script and everything, like how to sing it. The song took almost a year to make. The song took way longer than Freaks. Freaks is easy because I already knew what I wanted to do with Freaks. But since this song is so different, lyrically, instrumentally, and just vibe-wise, I had no idea what to do. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, do they want a ballad? Do they want melodic? Do they want heavy? Like, I don't know. So we really sat down and we just did a rough draft, and I was like, okay, I think this is what we're going for. So we did like 3 or 4 drafts, and it worked out. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's just grab it by the balls. Let's do it. Went to the studio. It worked out. We did a few changes and filmed the video for it, and there, that's a wrap. And I think that this whole song is basically just about not letting go of a certain thing, whether it's a person, whether it's an item, whether it's a memory, and it's eating you alive. And that's kind of what I did when I wrote the song. I was like, let me just put myself in that situation of like, what am I doing that I can't let go in life? And yeah.
Interesting. So, I mean, when it comes down to the message, like you're saying, it's something that like you can't let go in life of, that might be more detrimental to your overall happiness and mindset.
You're chasing something that isn't really there anymore. That you should really, you're chasing a ghost that you shouldn't be chasing.
Okay, because I'm trying to wrap my head around this, because like when it comes to me trying to figure out, like I'll hear the song when it comes out as well, and really try and get like the mindset behind it. Because when what with me, it's always like whenever I look through a song and I go in a deep analyzation of it, the first thing I always do is try and figure out the meaning. But I always like to listen to the song when I try and figure that out as well, not just read the lyrics, because you get a certain emotion off it that really can guide you to the right place.
And the video too. I think this was the most fun video I've filmed. Well, we filmed this video with Freaks the same day. It was a long day. It was like a freaking 10-hour, 12-hour day. Oh, that sucked. But this video, I think, really will show what it really means. Story and lyrically, everything. And I don't want to give too much away, but I think that this song might hit a lot of people differently. Take that as you will, but
honestly, with the concept that you have around there, I think it's definitely going to, because again, if you're holding on to something like kind of like chasing a ghost in a certain way, we all might be still doing that. But the reason why it's going to hit people differently because it's the specifics behind what they were chasing, whether it might be a past relationship that you feel like it's the one that got away, or, maybe it's something where someone that you were close to died and you're trying to like potentially like get some closure on it and just chase like, okay, other things that are unfinished business, whatever it might be. There's a lot of things that people might be holding on to personally that they kind of need to let go of at a point and maybe move on in a way. And just because of the specifics around them being differently, it's the emotion behind the song might hit them all differently. But again, we're all going to feel the exact same idea behind it. We're all feel the same emotion behind it, but it's going to be the specifics and the severity of that emotion that we feel is going to be on a different level.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I'm just I'm very excited. I'm going to start promoting it very soon because February comes. So I'll just be on the lookout in the next week or two. You'll see. But I think all these songs are really good. They're very different. They're very like a different chapter. Freaks is heavier. This next song is gonna be softer, and then the song after that is gonna be totally different. I think we have different styles too. I don't just want to, I don't just want to be metal. I don't want to be a metal band. I just want to be a band, like a rock band.
You just want to be doing what you want to do. You don't want to end up following along with any certain template. You don't want to follow along with whatever idea that you think the scene is going for. You want to follow along with your own way. You want to forge your own path, because if you kept trying to chase trends and like follow in other bands' footsteps, you were always going to be 1 to 2 steps behind. But if you're going to follow along your own path,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll say if you follow along in your own path, then you have the chance of being that trend setter, the chance of really starting something that people are going to try and latch onto and work off of as an influence. Or, even if that might not happen, all of a sudden you're doing your own thing and you're not constantly trying to chase what might be what, you think is popular in the scene, what might be going on next. You're just trying to focus on what you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, we got Anthem For the Freaks. We're going to get something the softest Kill the Blonde's ever done. We're going to get some heavier stuff, and it's just going to show more of a diversity and array in which you guys can go in your music as well. And when you see a lot of bands that, when they really hone in on their own selves, it's like they can go so many different ways in terms of what their musicality is like. But you always can figure out like the core emotion, the core feeling is going to be that band at the base of those songs. Like you can always feel it within each song that you listen to. So as long as like, you're constantly putting yourselves in there, you're constantly being honest about yourselves with all these songs, with all these different styles that you might be working with, we're going to feel that honesty and we're going to know it's Kill the Blonde from the start.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's gonna be sick.
Hopefully.
Well, I was just gonna keep pumping up by saying it's gonna be sick.
Well, thank you. It'd be killer, I must say.
It would be killer. Also, because I do want to talk about that mask that you had on there, because that mask was fucking cool. And I know you showed it to me right before we started. I'm like, I gotta bring it up. We gotta talk about it because, well.
Yeah. So. This was for our video shoot for Anthem For the Freaks, the song we just dropped. It's something I designed myself. I didn't design it. Actually, our good friend Chevy, Iceland Hills, his makeup artist, designed this for us. It's just basically, this is the band now. I feel like this is something that I'm going to start wearing a lot. Even if I don't wear it, it's just basically like the symbol, duality, kind of light and dark. Yeah, I just keep this guy with me. It's kind of my memento. I eventually want to get this guy like plastered into like a real hard mold, because this is cheap plastic. But this is dope. Yeah, I definitely do like this, and I'm glad you like it too. I might make We'll see. Maybe I'll give this to Trick or Treat Studios so they can make a fucking replica of this and start selling it. Get me rich.
That wouldn't be a bad idea because it's something that's, again, it's gonna be more unique to your band, so that when it comes to people trying to get behind the band, all of a sudden what's gonna happen? All of a sudden you're gonna be playing live shows and you're gonna have like hundreds of people show up wearing that exact same mask all the time. That, I mean, kind of like on top, like maybe a little bit of a gimmicky thing, but that could definitely be a thing that gets a lot more people in there because everyone feels like a freak. It's like all the people there, it's like you might have felt like a freak in your life at some point, and here it's like we're all accepting each other, but we're all accepting each other in our own way. It's just kind of a cool thing where all of a sudden if you play that song and all of a sudden everyone has that mask on to start. Like, that'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of why I did it. And again, I was never big on gimmicks. I don't like them, but like I've always wanted to wear, I've always liked masks. I've always been like obsessed with them. And like, especially coming from horror movies, Ghostface, Jason, Michael, Freddy, like they're cool, So I kind of wanted to bring my own twist into it. Not even be like anything bad, just a symbol. I feel like every brand has a symbol, and that's what the symbol is. It's like light and dark. It's like comedy and drama, or comedy and tragedy. That's what it is. Old school, like 1820s or whatever the hell it is. That's that little painting right there. But
like adding the comedy and drama in there, it does show that light and dark style again, like the lightheartedness and also the seriousness of it. And even like if you're gonna end up getting that mask, like like hard-coated plastered, all that stuff. Again, one thing I do like about the fact of what you're doing now with like this first iteration of it, even though it's just plastic, it still just has that blank white face behind it. So it kind of like think about it, like go back to Anthem For the Freaks, kind of with people that have felt like freaks and kind of constantly putting on a mask around society. It's kind of like this blank feel because it's kind of blank around whatever society wants. And when you pull it off, it's like you finally see the realization of who you are behind it. Now, with you having it on there, it's like you see that on there. It kind of still has that blank feel to it, but you're starting to see more of the foibles of the surrounding idea of having to wear a mask and not be yourself all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, you can tell it's getting a little damaged, wear and tear, which is good. But there's a lot of room for it to grow. I think if it goes well, I'm gonna probably add more to it. Maybe like with each album cycle or whatever we do, each single, I'll just make it more and more decrepit or add some stuff to it. Just give it some more genuineosity or something like that. You know what I mean?
Kind of that, but also to kind of create some more lore around it, because then people are gonna start following along and they're never gonna know exactly what's gonna come next. It's gonna be like a little, like kind of like a Marvel Easter egg in a way, where it's like, okay, what's gonna be the next little thing that happens? What's gonna be here? What's gonna be here? It's just gonna be something that adds on. It's gonna be a point of contention where, and I'm not necessarily saying it's gonna be used as like a gimmicky thing, because it's just something where it just adds more to the lore of Kill the Blonde. I mean, think about a bunch of other bands that have used like certain ideas that might be considered gimmicky, but now, I mean, they're not necessarily gimmicky anymore because of how they were created and how they were used. I mean, even though there was the whole entire MGK Slipknot thing with the whole mask thing, but I mean, look at Slipknot. Their music is absolutely fucking fantastic. And the masks just are a way to kind of like get you intrigued by it. It's like, that's what I'm saying at first, like, who the hell are these guys? And then like every single like album cycle or something, like they'd always have like all the masks would stay relatively the same. There'd be some different changes in there completely. But like with yours, what your idea kind of brings up is just adding more to it, just kind of slowly evolving it every step of the way. So it's something that every time someone's going to be watching a music video or someone's going to be, an album cycle is going to come around, there's going to be an intrigue behind it. And all of a sudden, you're playing live shows, merch table comes on, all of a sudden it's like, okay, now you've got this whole new, like a whole new mask out there. Might be very similar to the last one, but there might be a little bit of tweak in there. And again, it just creates more of this lore behind the whole entire band at that point.
Exactly. And, that's kind of what I wanted to make the new era at first, just like, I don't want the band to be about like looks and image and be like, oh, eye candy. It's kind of like, we're not about music. We're not about us. We're more about like, we want to write music, not just because like, we're attractive dudes in a band. It's, I don't want to do that. I mean, obviously the mask isn't anything unique at all. Plenty of bands have done it, even before Slipknot, but I don't know. I just think it's cool. I think it's a cool memento to have. And if the band hopefully I'll be doing this for the rest of my life. If the band one day, does call it quits, I'll have something to look back on with this guy. So
and to look back on those and have fond memories behind it, knowing that you created something that people potentially had their lives impacted for the positive.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's something that anybody can hang their hat on.
Yeah, man.
And even like going back to the mask as well, one thing that I'd be curious to see about it is like, because you're talking about, you know, again, kind of like you want to be focused on the music, but it's still something that can bring a lot of people in. It's something, again, it's an intriguing point of conversation. It's an intriguing point to bring eyes to the music. All of a sudden it's like, oh shit, look at this mask. It's like, now you're seeing a little bit of these symbols on there. You're starting to pull things out of it. You're starting to see more. I don't know, you could use this kind of like an evolution of the band thing. And when you're talking about, you know, you don't want to be like just kind of gimmicky or just want to see as an addition, it does create more of that lore to the band and kind of adds more to this storytelling mode, which honestly, I think in today's day and age, having this kind of like story, kind of this more, kind of like a mythological thing behind the band as well, adds so much more to it because people are able to get into those stories and people are able to like really kind of attach themselves to it and then follow the band, get behind the band, really follow the music and really put themselves into that position of influence. So it's like, okay, we're listening to this song, this is what it's about, and all of a sudden now they're realizing certain things about themselves that they don't know. And as you build on top of that, that just builds on the lore of the band, builds on the story of the band that people are going to want to follow as you go along in your musical career.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect. You said it perfect.
Man, I'm just spitting today. And as I said that, now there's a huge loogie on my mic thing right now. Yippee.
As you said that, now I really got to pee out of nowhere.
Oh dear God! But it's just I got like one more question for you. So there's so many other things out there. I know you talked about it earlier where you've got a lot more music in the works. You've got so much more going on, and we've talked about it for the podcast where, when it comes to live shows, you want to start, you know, putting more stuff out there before you jump back into live shows. Have you thought about when it comes to like live shows, you know, now that, you know, you're able to start playing them, they're back again, what a live performance like might look like from you guys now, especially with the new, like kind of like more the next chapter of the band, this newer experimentation on different styles, and especially like with the mask as well, just how is that going to add to really create more of this impactful live experience when you guys go back up on stage, so that people go and see your band and they leave, and then the next couple of days they're still talking about Kill the Blonde?
Yeah, I definitely thought about that, you know, ever since we started this. We've always had a gimmick side. We've always kind of dressed up to see what worked, but then like every time we did it, it just didn't feel right. Especially me, I was, you know, the weirdo who freaking had everything done to me. But now that I feel like we have our look and our sound established a little more, we'll just go into a show like a very professional band, you know, very like, well, obviously, you know, our songs will sound better, more decorations, just a better, I don't want it to be a show, I want it to be an experience, you know, like a Broadway show. I kind of want like fire, everything going up and shit, people breaking their noses, and it's just everything.
Or breaking their fingers like me.
Yeah, basically, or break a toe or something, just, you know.
Yeah, but one thing I've been seeing is like when you take a look at bands that are just creating creating experiences with their live sets as well. I mean, hell, go back and watch the movie, the Netflix movie The Dirt, where about Motley Crue's career. It's like the first thing I wanted to do was like, let's bring like a stadium show to the club. So it's like, let's bring that experience in there. You take a look at a lot of the bands that are playing now. It's like some of the bands that are the biggest out there, and some, especially in rock and metal, some of the bands you really think of, it's when you go see their live shows, it's not just a live show. It's an experience that you have. And people are starting to go to those in droves just because it's something that you want to be a part of. It's something that's interactive. And all of a sudden it's, you know, hell, when I got to go see Disturbed twice in 2019, I almost got burnt twice because I was on the rail whenever they did Inside the Fire, and the fire came down. Like, it was fucking hot. But it's something that I still remember, you know, 2.5 years later. It's somewhere if you can create an experience and people have an incredible time with it, and have something specifically from that show that they're able to just latch onto, then they're going to remember about the next day, the next month, the next year, for the rest of their lives. And it's going to be something that's going to connect them to the band forever.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I just want to be a leech. I want to leech onto them. I want them to see us one day being like, wow, who the hell is this? They're really good though. The singer is a weirdo, but they're good.
And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, they're like, Oh, yeah, we saw that band that one time before. Remember, we saw them in a room with like 100 people. Now in a room with 2,000 people seeing them. Neat. And then a couple years later, all right, now we're in a room with 5,000 people seeing them. Neat.
I'll be freaking like 5,000 people. God damn, man. I don't know what I'll do. Like, I don't know what to do. I forgot my lyrics.
I'll say you'll still be playing heavy stuff and all of a sudden be like, okay, who's the crazy guy that's now getting like flipped over in the mosh pit? And then there's going to be me with my hand up. Hey, Keanu, how's it going?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. When Victim comes in, Victim of the Skies at Breakdown. Oof. I will say, though, Victim is probably that like hardest breakdown you've ever written. Like, I don't think I've ever did anything that heavy before. Damn. That's heavy as hell.
Oh, boy. Now you're getting me more excited for, like, to, see you guys play live and to, like, go crazy in a freaking mosh pit because, hell, all of a sudden, like, a room of 100 people just start one, like, let's go! And all of a sudden, have a wall of death for the whole entire room and I just get flipped over or just, like, be the only one on my side running and get, like, thrown back 20 feet by, like, 10 people, for fun.
Don't worry. I got you. You can hop on stage. I'll protect you.
I'll probably be the one, like, egging everyone. I'm like, come on! And all of a sudden, just have a whole wall. They're like, shit, now I gotta do this. All right, let's do this.
It's like, Kevin, I think you're done. I think you're done. Like, I think you gotta go home. You're done.
And all of a sudden, I'd be yelling out, just like, I'm not bleeding yet. I'm good.
Yeah.
Until all of a sudden, there's blood running down my head. I'm like, okay, maybe now I'm done. So,
man.
Keanu, as we bring this podcast to a close, one thing I always like to do, and I'm pretty sure I did this the last time you were on here as well, even though this was like the 5th ever podcast I did with a artist on camera. Now it's like the 195th time I've done it, so it's been a while, but I always like to give whoever I have on a chance to say whatever they want to say, plug whatever they want to plug, promote whatever they want to promote at the end. So, Keanu, floor is yours, bud.
Thank you for having me again. It's been a while. Good to catch up. We have a new song coming out very soon. People who follow us, make sure to keep your eyes open. If you guys haven't seen our video for Anthem, follow us on social media to find that out. And new music very, very soon. Also, my OnlyFans is $19.95 a year. No, that's it.
Oh, darn. I'm pretty sure there'd be like a couple of people that'd be like, wait a minute, OnlyFans? Like, Keanu's got one? Okay, we gotta see this.
Nah, it's only man's. It's only me crying in my room.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like OnlyFans. It was going to be you standing, like, basically the same picture every single time of you with a different fan in your hand.
Basically, yeah, it's that. OnlyFans.
Like holding a ceiling fan, holding a standing fan, holding, like, one of those, like, little misters with the little fans.
Holding a jet fan. Yeah, basically.
I mean, that might be, I thought that was the original purpose of OnlyFans, but OnlyMans, I mean, that would be an interesting one to go with. I think I got another idea for a website if no one else wants to take it.
Okay, give it a shot.
Give it a shot. Alrighty, so as I close out this podcast, everybody, and with Keanu, we're going to end it with 3 things as normal. So, first things first, yes, you're going to want to follow along with Kill the Blonde. You're going to want to watch a video for Anthem For the Freaks. You're going to want to, make sure you stay in touch with them on social media because there's more new music coming out, and come on, you're not going to want to miss out on it. So instead of having to search up everything because, well, I know everyone likes convenience, take a look at the description of this podcast because you will see links, labels, everything for other socials, wherever you can find them online, everything where you can stream their music, all of it. So make it a one-click, one-stop shop for you guys. Make it as easy as possible to follow, subscribe, and listen to and share the music of Kill the Blonde with yourself and with everybody else. Now, number 2, I do not remember if I had started this yet, Keanu, when we last were on the podcast, because I honestly don't remember when I actually started this, but it's the promise part of the podcast where as long as I have an artist on the podcast and I enjoy having them on, which happens every fucking time, I have to make a certain promise. And the promise is not an if, not an if. If implies possibility of not happening. When implies it's happening. Date and time to be determined. So when I can see you perform live for the first time. Not sure I made this promise the last time, but I'm going to make sure I make it this time. First round's on me.
Yes, you are. When? I don't know. Whenever COVID stops being annoying.
That's why I said when. It'll be whenever it happens. Honestly, it could be all of a sudden like next year. All of a sudden, like I'm just in some random spot in the in the United States. All of a sudden, you guys are playing there. So, hey, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely. Yeah, if you do play a show again, I definitely will reach out to you and get you in.
Oh, even if it's something where it's like you completely forget and I just randomly surprise you, that's okay with me. Sometimes surprise me. Like, I'll say like in the venue, just message you like, hey dude, so you're playing a live show day. I'm here. That'd be some wacky shit. But as we now come to the third thing, Keanu, can't end this podcast with a goodbye because, well, I had you on once, had you on twice. We're going to have to do this a third time as well. And yes, I am still dead serious about that. So we will do it again a third time probably next year because, well, we did one in 2020. We did one in 2021. 2022 seems like another good time to do another podcast with you and Kill the Blonde. So I also want to see you perform live for the first time and make good on that promise. So end this podcast with goodbye. No. We're going to end it with, see you later, bud.
See ya.
Well, folks, an interview with Keanu from the band Kill the Blonde. Again, I have links to everything for their socials where you can watch the video for Anthem of the Freaks. Everything you need to find with them, streaming music, whatever it is, in the description of the podcast. So please go follow, share, subscribe, listen to music. Tell all your friends about Kill the Blonde. Also the same thing with the Chord Progression Podcast. All our links in the description as well. Yes, some of them are still MSOTD Rocks, but as of January 1st, 2022, everything is going to be Chord Progression Podcast because, well, this is what we like to do most. So please follow along, please share, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed on Spotify Podcasts, iHeart Radio, or Amazon, I want to thank you guys. If you're not, go do that for me, please, because I would be very thankful. Also, thank you, Phoenix Fitness and Custom Debuts. So all the links for their stuff and the custom, discount codes are in the description as well for you guys. So be sure to do that if you're going to do something like that. And again, when it comes to Kill the Blonde, thank you once again, Keanu. It's not going to be another what is it, close to 20 months since we had him on the podcast? Nah, next time let's make it a 12-month thing. So at the bare maximum. It's a good way to put it. So be sure to follow along with Kill the Blonde. Be sure to follow along with us. And on that note, that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. Brought to MSOTD Rocks and Rock and Thrive. My name is Kevin. And you guys know I'll end every single week's episode with a big, healthy, and hearty see ya! Yeah!